There is a moment in every human life when the world goes silent. Not because everything is calm, but because everything inside you collapses at once. You know that moment. Maybe it happened to you on a random afternoon. Maybe it hit you in the middle of a crowded room. Maybe it struck you during a quiet night when nobody was watching, but your mind was loud enough to drown you. It's that moment when you ask yourself, why does everything feel so heavy? Why does nothing change, even though I try? Why do I keep falling back into the same patterns? Giacomo Papasidero calls this the turning point of responsibility. The instant you realize that life does not change because of luck or circumstance, but because of one internal rule, a rule most people never learn. This rule is simple, but it's the hardest to live by. A rule that, once applied, changes your relationships, your confidence, your mindset, your peace, your purpose, everything. But before we reveal that rule, you need to understand the world we grow up in. We are raised to believe life happens to us, that people shape our emotions, that circumstances define our value, that success requires approval, that happiness must be earned from the outside. So we walk around like hostages of the world. Someone speaks to us harshly, we feel broken. Someone ignores us, we feel small. Someone leaves, we feel unworthy. Someone judges us, we feel ashamed. Life becomes a constant reaction to everything around us. No wonder you feel tired. No wonder you feel weak. No wonder you feel like nothing is changing, because deep down, you've been fighting battles that were never yours, and here begins the lesson, the shift, the transformation. You're not struggling because your life is bad. You're struggling because you're playing by the wrong rule book. 2. Change your life? You need to switch from the rule book that society gave you to the one rule that Giacomo spent his life teaching. But first, let me tell you something. Your life is not a mistake. Your pain is not meaningless. Your struggles are not signs of weakness. They are invitations, moments designed to wake you up, to shake you, to push you towards something deeper. This script will not give you motivation for one night. It will give you a rule, a compass, that will follow you for the rest of your life. So take a breath, slow your mind, and walk with me into something deeper. Because you're about to hear the one rule that changes everything. But before I reveal it, you must understand why this rule matters. If you look around, you will see millions of people living the same year again and again. They wake up, complain, blame, repeat. Their goals remain dreams. Their relationships remain temporary. Their self-esteem remains fragile. Their life remains predictable. Why? Because they are trapped in a cycle that almost every human on Earth falls into. They wait for the world to change before they do. They wait for the perfect opportunity. They wait for the right person. They wait for validation. They wait for inspiration. They wait for confidence. They wait for life to become easier. They wait and waste years. If you've ever felt stuck, it's not because you are incapable. It's because you have been relying on the wrong source of power. You've been trying to control the world instead of controlling your inner world. Look at your life honestly. How many times have you held back because you were afraid of judgment? How many times have you changed your decisions because someone disapproved? How many times have you stayed silent to avoid conflict? How many times have you allowed someone to dictate your happiness? This is not life. This is submission. Mental submission, and it's not your fault. You were raised this way, were taught from childhood. Be good so they like you. Don't upset anyone. Fit in, don't be different, don't fail, don't take risks. So you spend years living for the world instead of living for yourself, and this is why people stay stuck. Because the moment your emotions are controlled by others, your life is controlled by others too. So the question becomes, how do you break free? How do you build confidence that cannot be broken? How do you create relationships built on respect, not fear? How do you live a life that feels like yours? You apply the one rule that changes everything. You apply the rule that Giacomo Papasidero teaches over and over again. I am 100% responsible for my thoughts, emotions, and actions. Always. That's it. That is the rule. Simple, clear, brutal, liberating. Read it again. I am 100% responsible for my thoughts, emotions, and actions, always. Not 50%, not 95%, not, depending on how others treat me, a full 100%. This rule flips your entire life upside down, because once you accept it, you can no longer blame anyone for your anger. You can no longer justify your insecurity. You can no longer say, they made me feel this way. You can no longer hide behind excuses. But you also gain something extraordinary, a level of power you didn't know you were missing. See, the moment you stop giving emotional control to the world, you take back the steering wheel of your life. Think about relationships. Someone disrespects you, you can't control them, but you can control your response, your boundaries, your standards. Think about fear. You can't control whether the world is scary, but you can control whether fear stops you or strengthens you. Think about failure. You can't control the outcome, but you can control the effort, the attitude, the persistence. This rule is not about blaming yourself for everything, it's about claiming ownership of your inner world. It's about understanding that. You choose whether someone's words ruin your day. You choose whether doubt paralyzes you. You choose whether setbacks turn into lessons or excuses. You choose whether you grow or remain who you've always been. You can't control life, but you can control the way you live it. And that changes everything. But the transformation doesn't happen by understanding the rule. It happens when you apply it, especially in the moments when it feels impossible. Let's walk through real life. When someone insults you, the old you gets angry, hurt, defensive. The rule-based you understands that their say in words reflect who they are, not who you are. You choose peace, you choose clarity, you choose self-respect. When fear stops you from pursuing a dream, the old you waits for confidence, waits for the perfect time. The rule-based you acts anyway, because courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move despite fear. When life doesn't go your way, the old you complains, blames, compares. The rule-based you adapts, learns, tries again, because failure is feedback, not fate. When a relationship becomes chaotic, the old you tries to fix the other person, tries to control them. The rule-based you focuses on your behavior, your boundaries, your choices. You stop trying to change people and start choosing the people who align with your values. When you feel lost, the old you lets confusion turn into paralysis. The rule-based you takes one step, any step, forward, and the path reveals itself. This is why the rule changes everything, because when you take responsibility, you stop reacting and start creating. You stop surviving and start living. You stop being controlled and start leading your own life. This is not a motivational idea, it is a way of living. And once you practice it, something unexpected happens. People respect you more. Opportunities find you, clarity increases, peace grows, confidence becomes natural. Life begins to feel like it finally belongs to you. But there is one final step. Every transformation begins with a decision. Right now, in this moment, you are standing at the edge of two lives. The life you've been living, full of doubt, fear, overthinking, emotional chaos, overreaction, dependence, and the life you could live, a life built on clarity, responsibility, strength, emotional mastery, and purpose. The difference between these two lives is not luck, money, intelligence, or timing. It is one decision. From today, I take full responsibility for my inner world. This decision does not require motivation. It requires honesty. It requires courage. It requires maturity. And most people never make it, because it's easier to blame than to build, easier to complain than to grow, easier to wait than to act. But you didn't come here for easy. You came here because something inside you knows that you are capable of more, that you were born for more, that you are done living as a prisoner of circumstance, that you are ready to evolve. The world will not change for you. People will not change for you. Life will not soften for you. But you can become someone who is unshakable in the middle of it all. This is the rule, this is the path, this is the turning point. So take a breath, place your hand on your heart, and say quietly to yourself, I am responsible for my thoughts. I am responsible for my emotions. I am responsible for my actions. My life begins with me. This is the moment where everything shifts. This is the moment your old self dies. This is the moment the real you is born. And from this moment on, you are no longer reacting to life. You are creating it. Walk forward. Build your path. Live with intention. Stand with courage. Grow with every step, because the world doesn't need another person who follows the crowd. The world needs someone who leads themselves, and today, that someone is you. Your new life begins now.